Ladies and gentlemen, on this episode of the DFW podcast, we call up North Texas running back Oscar Adaway III. We talk about the NBA Finals. It's tied at 1-1. We go around the square table, and is this player cowboy? All that and more on this episode 16 of the DFW podcast.
You're listening to the DFW podcast.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Now, here's your host, Hunter Paris and Mason Addison.
All right, it is a Monday night for the first time in, I guess technically it's been a month. We are back here on the DFW podcast. Hunter Paris alongside Tommy Driscoll here for you tonight. Tommy, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm happy to be back. It's been a long time.
Yeah, so we originally planned on a 1-week hiatus, and then it went to a 2-week hiatus, and then it went to a 3-week hiatus, but we're back. Mason cannot make it tonight, so it'll just be me and Tommy. Talk a little NBA Finals at 6:15 in 15 minutes into this episode if you're listening to us on Spotify or Anchor after the live show. We will have UNT, University of North Texas running back Oscar Adaway III, all the way from North Little Rock High School in Arkansas. He's been at UNT. He's going on his 4th season at UNT. He missed last year due to an ACL tear, but he should be back and good to go, and we're really excited to have him on and talk to him about all the experiences. So talking a little NBA Finals. Tommy, if you don't know, this podcast started as a me and Mason show, and then we added Tommy into it. Me and Mason are big Dallas fans all around, but Tommy is a Seahawks, Celtics, Boston Red Sox fan, so he's a Boston fan besides the Patriots. I believe you like the Bruins as well.
I do, yes, sir.
The Celtics are in the NBA Finals. They took Game 1, 120 to 108 after coming back down from, I believe, 15 points the first game.
Yeah, that fourth quarter was like a 40-16 quarter.
Yeah,
right
it was absolutely insane, and I remember looking at it because I watched a little bit of the first half, and then the second half came on, and I kind of strayed away from it, didn't watch it as much, and just very, very surprised at the Celtics coming out and doing that in Game 1. What were your kind of thoughts about Game 1?
Yeah, so I feel like it was a tale of who could have the better quarter at the right time. Obviously, the Warriors came out in the first quarter, and Steph Curry had 21 points, 6 threes. I mean, he was unconscious, really. And then the second quarter, the Celtics kind of fought back, had the lead at half. Then, your typical third quarter Warriors came out and absolutely, beat the Celtics up. And after that, the Celtics came back in the fourth, and that game was fun. It was a fun game. It feels weird watching my team in the finals just because it's been so long.
Right.
But yeah, just to see that fight and that comeback, and then that was great to see. Great, especially on the road.
And then Game 2, so you guys already had stolen one from Golden State. It would have been almost incredible if you guys were able to steal one last night. But they came out in the third quarter. It was a close game at halftime. Mistake me if I'm wrong.
No,
but come out in the third quarter in an absolute blowout and something that was a little surprising.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially with the way the Celtics came out. They came out shooting pretty well, and it was like, okay, we might actually pull this off. And the third quarter came around, and the Warriors completely took control. And the Celtics, honestly, didn't look like they wanted to be there.
Yeah, and they did, and that's what I've heard. And, just kind of looking at, they had 19 turnovers last night. You're not going to win a game in the NBA with 19 turnovers. Trust me, I've seen the Mavericks do it plenty of times, and they don't often win those games. Talking about Coach Ime Udoka, he's about last night's game, said we weren't strong with the ball a lot, searching for fouls instead of going up and making plays, especially with the lack of rim protection. For us, that was a little disappointing to give up 33 points off of 19 turnovers. It's kind of been a constant theme in the playoffs. When that happens, we're in trouble. The Celtics are 1-5 when they've committed 15 total turnovers in this playoffs, including 0-4 since the start of the Eastern Finals, and 12-2 with 7 straight wins when they've committed 15 or fewer. So, I mean, if you don't turn the ball over 15 times, Tommy, I'd like the Celtics to win this series if they can not turn the ball over 15 times. But I think Steve Kerr and the Warriors are kind of thinking, hey, we got to turn it up even more defensively and get them to commit 15 turnovers, because when they do that, they're probably not going to beat us.
No, definitely. That's ever since that Milwaukee series, that was the big theme. Don't turn over the ball. And if you look at all of our losses against Milwaukee, the big trend is we turn over the ball. No, same thing with Miami. If we turn over the ball a lot, we lose. And it was apparent last night as well. If you turn over the ball, you lose. The Celtics defense is extremely good. That's not really a secret. But it's not good enough to be playing in transition all the time. They need to start getting these teams in, half-court sets, and that's when I feel confident in our defense. If you're just handing the ball and letting them get transition baskets all game, you're not going to be able to get stops, and our offense isn't prolific enough to be keeping up with that. So they will not win a game if they keep doing that, and the stats show it.
Yeah, and I don't believe that the Celtics will do that. So predictions time. Obviously, I think I know who you're going to pick. How many games will it take for this? Because our last episode was going on during the Mavericks series. So 6 days later, after our last episode, the Mavericks went on an incredible stretch in Game 7. They won Game 6 at home, away. They won Game 6 at home. They defended home court. They were undefeated in Dallas. Phoenix was undefeated going into Game 7 at home. Mavericks came out and just absolutely put it on them. 50 points. They led by 50 at one time, I believe. We were watching it down in Houston, and we were all hanging out in the pool, and I was very, what's the word?
Superstitious?
Superstitious, definitely the word. And made sure I was not going to get out of the pool unless the game was in hand, and I was prepared to stay in there until the end of the fourth quarter, but my bladder was saying something else. We were up 30 with like 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter. I said, okay, they're probably not going to come back and beat us. So we got out and got out of the pool. But anyway, going back to what I was trying to tie that in with, I had never bet on the Celtics to win in these playoffs. The first 2 rounds, I said, first round they played the Nets. I said the Celtics in 7. Celtics beat them in 4. Next round, I said Bucks in 6. Was it the Celtics in 6?
Celtics in 7.
Celtics in 7. Okay, Celtics in 7. Did not get to guess about their Eastern Conference, but I would have picked them if I did pick an Eastern Conference. They're just a better team than Miami, even though that game went to 7. I was surprised it went to 7. It should have went to 6. It should have just stayed at 6.
It was disappointing that it went to Game 7, but I'm happy we won. I'm okay. I can't complain.
This time, I got the Warriors in 6, so I'm doing you a favor. And when I have picked the Celtics to lose, they win. So
I like it.
We'll see. We'll see if that continues. But kind of talking about Jason Tatum a little bit, and I want to hear your thoughts about this. He had a close relationship with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant obviously passed away in January of 2020. What are your thoughts about all this hate that Jason Tatum has been getting? I know that he texted Kobe the night before Game 7, or the couple hours before Game 7 of like, this one's for you or something like that along those lines. And I thought that was actually cool. I reposted that on my Instagram story, and I was like, okay, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. And anyway, I was looking at some other stuff, and I know Kobe Bryant worked out for the Celtics before having a great career with the Lakers, Hall of Fame, one of the best ever to do it. And Kobe was working out in this Celtics shirt, so the Celtics don't make shirts like that. And I think that Jason Tatum had to go and ask the equipment guy, hey, I need you to make this shirt or something like that. And, of course, they'll make it for Jason Tatum. He's a franchise player. Wore the exact same kind of outfit there, and then he's had this profile picture of him in the same pose as Kobe. What are your thoughts about Jason Tatum and kind of the people are using other words to describe how he's acting towards Kobe, but what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I know a lot of people have been like saying, "Oh, it's cringy, it's corny, it's whatever," and I mean, I don't really see an issue with it. Well, how about this? I wish he'd play a little bit better, especially when he was wearing the same workout uniform that Kobe was wearing, all the Celtics gear. I wish he'd play a little bit better if he's going to do that. But in the bigger picture, I don't really see an issue with it. It's not a secret that he admires Kobe. Kobe was his favorite player. He looks up to him and all that. And obviously he wants to be like Kobe. He has not made that a secret. Like he always says, I want to be like Kobe. And so I didn't really have an issue with it. I know people care, think they care or whatever, and they like to hate. But other than that, like, he's just wants to
just living, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I can respect it. And what I've seen from some people in the like on the radio and stuff like that about how he wears the Kobe Lakers purple armband, and obviously Tatum plays for the Boston Celtics, and that's the biggest rival of the Celtics, historically at least, is with the Lakers, and it kind of sucks right now that that's kind of dropped off due to the Lakers' problems and stuff like that. I wish the Lakers were really good this year, because then you'd have a Lakers and Celtics finals, and I'd probably root – I'm not rooting for the Warriors necessarily right now, but I would probably root for the Celtics a lot more just because I don't really like the Lakers. But – yeah, I think it's interesting, and I wonder what other Boston fans think about that, of Jason repping the colors of the Lakers and stuff like that. But I think it's all just because he wants to show homage to Kobe.
Definitely, I think it's just a tribute thing. He loved Kobe Bryant. I think, again, I see no issues with it. I don't think he's affecting anybody or disrespecting anyone. So I
agree.
think that's fine.
I agree. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have UNT running back Oscar Adaway III. This dude's an absolute beast. He's coming off a tough injury, but if there's anybody that can do it, I know Oscar can. So we will be right back. You're listening to the DF Dub podcast right here. right, and we are back here on the DF Dub podcast. Now joining us on the sheer elegant salon of Van Alstyne Hotline, UNT running back in Little Rock, Arkansas product, Oscar Adaway III. Oscar, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. We appreciate your time and really excited to ask you a couple questions. So right off the bat, you're obviously going into your 4th year here at UNT. What made you choose North Texas coming out of high school, and what other schools were you looking at coming out of North Little Rock High School?
You know, coming out of North Little Rock, I could have went up north and went to Colorado State, and I had some schools around home, every D2 and D1 around home except for U of A. It was like some problems going on with them. But one of the main reasons why I picked UNT, man, is just with college football, this is a big business industry. And when I came to UNT, all I seen was family. So I wanted to be more around a family-oriented place. And that's why I picked UNT, man. I love it here.
Most definitely.
So you've been in Denton for a good little bit now. How many years of eligibility do you have left going into this season?
I still have 4 years of eligibility left, man.
I figured because you got the injury and then you had the COVID year as well.
Yep. And then I redshirted my first. He did my surgery, my injury surgery, and Cody Mark, he was doing my physical therapy. You know, like 2 great guys and like well known in their fields. So when it comes down to like physical therapy and coming back, like I feel 100%, I feel 1,000%. And like when people ask me like, oh, what happened with your injury, this, that, and the other, my common response is like, what injury? That's what I usually tell people, like, oh, what happened? I never got injured. They're like, oh, what about last year? It never happened, buddy. You guys, you know what I'm saying? Because it's more of a mental thing, you know, like coming over this injury. So I just tell people, like, I've never got injured before. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Right, most definitely. I can respect that, and I like that theory a lot.
Yeah, a little side note. Dr. Cooper is that guy. Dr. Cooper is that guy.
Oh, Dr. Cooper is that guy, bro. That guy.
He did my knee surgery last year as well. He's a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
So the next question, coming back from an ACL tear, so what are your personal goals for this upcoming season?
Personal goals?
Yes, sir.
Championship.
So, like, do you have a personal goal, or is it just about winning with the team?
Personal. When it comes down to personal, I mean, every running back wants to rush for 1,000 yards. Every running back wants to do that. You know, like that's one of my main goals, of course. But other than that, I want to win a championship. You know, like that takes me being on the sideline half the game. That takes me being in the game half of the game. Like I just want to win a championship. So whatever it takes, it takes.
Most definitely. I get that. So explain what it's like being in the talented running back room that we have up here in Denton, Texas. It kind of explain the relationship between guys like you and Io and Ikaika and Isaiah. There's a lot of talent in that room, and I'm very excited that all you 4 guys decided to come back and to continue being a part of the